Good afternoon. My name is Bob Friedrich, and welcome to the Co-op Condo Brief. This is our first podcast. I hope you enjoy it. I'm president of Glen Oaks Village, a co-op of 10,000 residents living in 134 buildings. I'm also the founder of the President's Co-op and Condo Council, a co-op and condo advocacy group of more than 100 board presidents throughout New York. We have testified before the New York City Council, the New York State Legislature, on numerous issues affecting co-ops and condos. This week, your inside track on today's issue is understanding heat pumps and why Local Law 97 will bankrupt you and your family. I just read that Mayor Mandami announced a $38.4 million investment in the NYCHA 41st Street houses to bring heat pumps into the residential apartments there. Those residents don't know what's coming to them and what's about to hit them. New York City's Local Law 97, passed in 2019, is no longer an abstract climate policy. Beginning in 2025 and tightening significantly in 2030, it will impose strict carbon emission limits on large buildings, most of which are co-ops and condominiums built long ago before modern energy standards existed. What was celebrated at the time as a bold environmental victory is now revealing itself as a looming financial crisis for middle-class homeowners. The stated goal of Local Law 97 is to push New York City toward net zero emissions by dramatically reducing use of fossil fuels in buildings. That means they want to eliminate your boilers that burn natural gas or oil, both plentiful and both relatively inexpensive. In theory, that ambition is admirable. In practice, the law ignores the physical reality of the city's aging housing stock and the economic limits of the families who live in them. For many older buildings, compliance with Local Law 97 leaves only one realistic option: dismantling functional oil or gas boiler systems and converting the building entirely to electric heat, primarily through heat pumps. That means they are going to install heat pumps in each apartment in which you're going to be billed at the nation's highest electric rates for heat. Proponents insist that heat pumps are efficient and cost-effective. That claim may hold true in milder climates or in very new, well-insulated buildings, but it doesn't hold true in the Northeast, and especially not in older apartment buildings that were never designed for this kind of system. The challenges go far beyond the individual apartments. New York's grid is being pushed toward renewable energy sources, but this transition is generational. It is a generational undertaking, expecting a rapid transformation from fossil fuels to renewable and to be completed on an accelerated political timetable is unrealistic. 83% of the city's electric still comes from non-renewable sources, and ratepayers are bearing the cost of this massive transition through double-digit increases in their electric bills. That is why your electric bills are skyrocketing year after year. Those increases are not due to the cost of energy. The cost of energy has actually come down. Those increases are due to this generational transition from fossil fuels to non-renewables, which is actually impossible to happen within our lifetime. But those increases in your electric bills to fund this massive transition are not temporary. They are the price of rebuilding an entire energy system. The Public Service Commission just approved 3 years worth of increases to Con Ed. So your energy bills, your electric bills, will continue to increase over the next 3 years, and of course, even beyond that. Even worse, the current grid is not equipped to handle the surge in demand that widespread electrification of heating would create. Older co-ops and condos would be forced to rewire their buildings to support electric heat in every apartment, and those costs can easily reach into the millions of dollars, sums that most buildings simply do not have, and they will be charging through special assessments the shareholders to fund the rewiring of their buildings. And if buildings cannot afford the upgrade, the alternative is fines, penalties that divert scarce funds away from essential maintenance in your co-op and into the city coffers. Either way, residents lose. But the most overlooked problem is how heat pumps actually function in cold weather. All heat pumps have an auxiliary electric coil inside them, so when outdoor temperatures drop below a certain point known as the balance point, those electric coils fire up and start heating your home. When the balance point is reached, the heat pump can no longer produce heat, measured in BTUs, faster than your apartment is losing them. In other words, there comes a point where the home is losing BTUs faster than the heat pump can produce. In New York's climate, that balance point is often reached when temperatures fall into the 30s, even in well-insulated homes. At that moment, apartments are heated by electric heating coils and not by the efficient heat pump mechanism that you're told about. And that electric is being billed to you at the nation's highest electric rates. During a prolonged cold spell, electric bills would soar to levels that you have never seen and would easily overwhelm middle and working class households. This is not a hypothetical concern. It is a predictable outcome based on how the technology works. And there's also a serious public safety risk. Local Law 97 moves the city's peak electric season from summer to winter. So instead of seeing blackouts in the summer, we'll start to see them in the winter. And that would be catastrophic. Homes dependent solely on electric heat would quickly become uninhabitable iceboxes, putting lives at real risk. Climate policy should not force people to choose between environmental ideals and financial survival. Yet that's exactly what Local Law 97 is doing. By imposing aggressive mandates without realistic timetables, infrastructure readiness, or economic safeguards, the law places an enormous burden on the very people it claims to protect. Local Law 97 is not a minor regulatory adjustment. For co-op and condo owners across New York City, it represents a direct threat to housing stability, affordability, and safety. A serious re-examination is long overdue before well-intentioned policy does irreversible harm to the city's middle class. Thank you for joining us. You now have the inside track on heat pumps and Local Law 97. We will see you next week with another co-op and condo brief. Thank you. See you soon.